Hello everybody, this is Wes, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to very simply create a scorecard for your self-improvement by using Google Forms. So scorecards for self-improvement have been around forever. They were originally, at least one of the most famous people who have used them in the past was Benjamin Franklin. He used to carry around a little notebook with all of his 13 virtues on them that he wanted to live by, and he would just mark each day whether or not he was living by those virtues. And so, over time, what these things do is they help you to keep not just a progress assessment of kind of how you've been doing in key areas of your life that you want to improve on, but it also helps you develop awareness of what you're doing each day that, could be changed, could be altered in some way. So, it's these little changes that over time will add up to, improvement over time. So, without further ado, let's get started. If you want to create a very simple tracking mechanism for yourself in Google Forms, this is a free tool, anybody can use it, you just need to have a Gmail account, then these are the steps that you should follow. So I've listed these steps here in my blog post, which you can find at weswhitecoaching.com, but I'm also going to walk you through the steps in this video. So, step one, you need to decide what you want to actually track. So, for me, the biggest things are positivity, energy levels, fitness and nutrition, relationships, and but you can do other things as well, right? There's plenty of different areas of life that you could decide to track and decide to improve on. I've listed a few here in the blog post, but I've also created two different templates for you as well that have different forms already built out for different areas of your life that you may want to work on. So I've shown you here, I'll show you what mine looks like, and then I'll show you how to edit that as well. So if you wanted to create your own, you can do so. So if you go to the blog post, again, weswhitecoaching.com /post / the simple way to track your self-improvement. This is, and I'll leave the link down in the comments. I have two templates built out for you. So let's first take a quick look at what these look like. Okay, so it'll bring you here. Like I said, you need to have a Google account in order to sign in and see these templates. So let's very quickly log into my Google account. Okay. All right, and it'll ask you to copy the document. So yes, we're going to make a copy. So we want to check this out. Okay, and then let's quickly go over to the other one. So I have a daily one for you, and then I have a weekly one as well, because it's very important to, on a weekly basis, reflect on how you're doing, throughout the week. So that's what I've done for you here. So we're going to make a copy again, and here we go. Great, so we have a weekly reflection, Google form, and we have the daily progress assessment. So let's start with the daily one. If you scroll down here, you'll see that there's a bunch of different sections, okay? The sections are mostly just labels or categories for the different questions that we have. And the questions are, I've labeled it as sleep. This is one thing. So we have how many hours did you get last night, quality of sleep, sleep notes, right? This comes into reflection on how you slept, what you could do differently, that type of thing. Energy level, partner relationship, there's a few different categories here. So if you want to edit this, what you would just do is you'd go over to the sections that you don't want, and I'd recommend only working with one or two of these at a time. It's best to start small if you can, and then build from there. So track just one or two for about a month, see how you do with consistency, and then feel free to add additional categories over time. A good way to do this, I found, is to make a copy of the document, which you can do here. Go up to these three dots, hit make a copy, right? And then I'll give you a separate copy with all of the categories listed, as opposed to the one that you'll create now, which will only have the one or two that you decide to focus on for that month. So if you want to delete one of these sections, all you do is go over to these three dots here, click on that, delete section. Simple as that. If you want to move these questions around, you can do so here. Okay. If you want to add a question, hit this little plus button here. Okay, so Google Forms is fairly simple to use. I've also included a more detailed video that goes into how to actually edit forms in the blog post. So if you need more information, you can go there. I'll also link that in the comments below too. But for now, let's get on to how you would actually put this form into action. So in order to do that, let's go up here to send. Okay, so we're going to hit send and then go over here to this paperclip looking button, okay, to get the link. You can shorten the URL. I'd recommend that you do. Just makes it easier to deal with. We're going to hit copy there. Okay, then we're going to X out of that. And the next thing that we're going to do is go to IFTT.com. That stands for if this then that. Okay, if this then that is really helpful, because what it does is it helps you automate things like Gmail, which is what we're going to do right now. So let's first sign up. Okay, I'm going to sign in because I actually already have an account that I've created. Okay, we're going to do, you can continue with Apple, Google, or Facebook. So I use that same Google account that I logged into before. So I'm going to sign in with that first. Okay, great. Cool, so I'm logged in now, and this is the page you're going to see when you log in. So the next thing that you need to do is go up to create. Okay, so the way this works is that you connect one thing, one action, to the next. So you say, if this happens, then that happens. Okay, so what we're going to do here is say if it is a certain date and a certain time, then we will send an email to ourselves with a copy of that form. So let's put that into action. Go to add. We're going to search through a service here. They have all kinds of different things you can connect. We're going to do date and time. Click on that. Great. So you see we have different options here. You're going to do two different things. So for the daily progress assessment, you're going to want to get that every day, right? So that's going to be this everyday trigger right here. For the weekly reflection, you're going to want it just one time a week, probably on the weekend. I do mine on Sunday. And for that, you're going to do every day of the week at. Okay, so that's a little bit confusing, I think, wording-wise, but it only fires, you see here, on specific days of the week at the time you provide. So you would pick Sunday at, for example, 2 p.m. Okay, but for now, let's do the daily progress assessment. Great, so we have every day at, right? For me, I find the best time to be around 8 p.m. because I'm starting to kind of wind down for the day. Probably not going to be super active at that point most days of the week, and I can always let it sit in my inbox if I don't get to it right then. So let's create the trigger. Great, so now we have if that it is that time at every day, then what? So we're going to add the then here to Gmail. Okay, so I use Gmail, but if you use Outlook on your phone, it connects to Outlook as well. We're going to just go through the Gmail version for now. Cool, so what I want to do is send myself an email, okay? You can also send an email to a different email address. If you've logged in to if this then that with an email that you don't actually want to use, maybe a work email instead of a personal email, you can send your personal email the email instead of sending yourself an email to that same account. But for now, we're going to do this option. Great, so subject, what I'm going to say is daily progress assessment. Okay, you can name that whatever you want. For the body, what we're going to do here is say, here is your form. Okay, and then hit paste on that form link that you created before. This is going to give you the same form. You can use the same link again and again and just keep submitting it, and the time that you submit it is going to change so that you'll have, when you look over these form submissions later on, your submissions from you, but you'll have them from different days. And that's how you'll be able to tell the difference. All right, create action. There we go. And continue, review and finish. It's going to take a second. And you can, label this daily assessment email. There you go. Cool. I don't receive notifications because that just ends up filling up your inbox with a bunch of email notifications from IFTT. Finish. And voila. Okay, great. So now we're going to have a daily assessment email that gets sent to us every night at 8 p.m. And, if you wanted to check this, okay, you could, let's see what time it is, 5:04. You could say, let's do it at 5:15. Okay, you could check it like that and then go through the process of saving it, and it'll send you a new email with your form, and you can check it that way. So that's how that works. I'm going to go back to over here, right? And so when you, I wanted to show you real quick how to actually look at your progress report and view it once you actually get responses in over the course of several days. What you're going to do here is you're going to go to your form again, and you go to responses. And there's your responses right now, obviously, but what we're going to do is we're going to create a spreadsheet. Okay, create a new spreadsheet, create. And the way this is going to come up is like this. So you'll have a timestamp where you'll be able to see when you submitted the responses, which day that was, what time you submitted them at, and then you'll see all of your metrics here. How many hours of sleep did I get last night on Tuesday, for example, or whatever day it is. Okay, and this is where it also becomes important to only focus on one or two of these at a time, because you can tell that as you scroll across, it gets really weighty if you have, 17 columns to deal with at one time. It really kind of defeats the purpose of being able to focus in on one thing. So that is the quick overview of how to create a daily progress assessment and scorecard for yourself so you can check in on your goals and develop awareness of your habits and patterns that you can slowly improve over time. When you are working on this, again, only do one or two at a time. Try to block off time on your calendar each day, and especially on the weekend to get in that weekly review time, because that kind of integration and review of your patterns and trends is going to be really important long term. And focus on taking small, simple steps to adjust your behavior over time, because that's going to lead to the best results. All right, that's it for now. Thanks.